Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the live masterclass, a very special bonus masterclass that we are having here in the Profit-Preneur Circle about the 3 critical components to build a $1 million brand that attracts affluent clientele and makes your competition irrelevant. So I'm just going to hang here for a second and wait as I watch you guys join. I see you guys are all popping on. Hi, Lena. Hi, Annie, Denise, Joe. I see you. Hey, Caitlin, and a bunch of other people. Hi, Denise. Missed you. I just saw your message. Julia, oh my gosh, you guys are all just popping on in rapid force. So I want to welcome you here tonight. This is a special bonus masterclass that I am doing for you guys around a game-changing topic for you in your business. So this class is going to run much longer than our normal classes. It's going to run about 75 minutes. And I really want to encourage you to stay on it to the end because I have something very, very special for you that you are not going to want to miss so that you can put everything I'm about to teach you into action. So again, as you guys are joining, please drop your name in, say hello. Let us know your Profit-Preneur profile type. That's always very interesting for us to know. Introduce yourself. This is a community of collaborators. We love to meet all the new people who are joining us here tonight. So please introduce yourself. Let us know what your business is and let us know why you decided to come and watch this. And even for those of you who are joining on the replay afterwards, just put in a little hashtag replay and follow along just as if you were watching it live. So we're going to start off today. Again, the topic this evening is the 3 critical components to build a $1 million brand that attracts affluent clientele and makes your competition irrelevant, right? So, but I have a question for you. How many of you have ever felt like the world's best kept secret? Like you know that you are so good at the work that you do in the world and that you have something very special to offer, but it feels like not enough people know about it, right? Not enough people are aware of what it is that you do and what you're bringing to the world. You know, I would love to see how many of you have ever felt like that. And I actually, I would love to see you drop a, yeah, Wendy Sterling says, hell yes. Not anymore, girlfriend, not anymore. I'm going to be introducing you to Wendy a little bit later. Denise Pavernick, yes. Maria Fontana, yes, absolutely, right? You know, this is something that I'm gonna share with you. At one time, I absolutely felt like that, right? So that is exactly what this training is for, right? This training I devise very specifically for service-based entrepreneurs and aspiring leaders who are really ready to transition from that really brilliant gem, that diamond that no one has yet, that you haven't caught that traction that you want, right? That best kept secret to the definitive leader in your market, right? So that you can charge premium rates, right, with ease, so that you can attract those premium clients who are going to pay you those premium rates, and so that you can also create greater impact. Because I know that with a lot of my clients, whether it be my doctors that are healing people, or whether it be even, you know, my CPAs who are really wanting to help people gain that financial freedom, or even of our more traditional transformational people, our authors, our speakers, our coaches, our healers, I know that a lot of people are really, really concerned also with making a brand impact in the world. I know we are at my company. So how many of you are ready for that? How many of you are ready to be the definitive leader, charge premium rates, attract those affluent clients, and create greater impact? I want you to actually declare it for yourself in the chat window. Like drop a yes, points for creative language, and obnoxious extra use of emojis, right? Really declare it to yourself and declare it to everyone else who is, you know, who is watching here as well. Okay. So for those of you who are new to me, right, you may not know this, but I'm just going to explain this because you'll get it soon enough, right? I am not about wasting time, right? So if that is not you, if that's not the shtick that you're in, if you're like, no, that's not me, that's not where I'm going, like, you can more than welcome hang out if you want, but I don't want to waste your time, because that is exactly what we are covering tonight, right? But if this is you, again, I want to remind you, I really suggest that you stay on live. You get ready to take notes, right? Make sure you watch the entire class, the replay. You may want to watch it a couple times, right? You may want to go back and look at this, because the information that I am going to give you is literally going to change your business. It will change your business. And a lot of my clients prior to coming to me had not heard this before they got working with me, and they will attest that it has absolutely changed their business, right? So tonight, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need in order to create a market-leading, profitable brand that is going to attract those affluent clients and truly makes you the clear choice in the marketplace, especially if you are in a saturated marketplace. We are going to cover, first and foremost, an overview of what strategic positioning is and why it's not only the most critical component of your business that you need right from the get-go, right? You need it right from the get-go, but it's also the most overlooked in the marketplace. And it's the thing that is keeping people from getting the success that they desire. I'm going to also talk to you about how to become the market leading expert in your oversaturated industry, even if you are new in business. We are going to leapfrog the years of trying to build the brand by hustling and grinding and spamming random content all over the internet. And I'm going to show you exactly how I help my clients leapfrog that by creating their positioning. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about how to rewrite the rules in your own industry and why that is so important, especially now, right? By developing intellectual property that's going to make your competition irrelevant to your ideal clientele. And I'm going to be talking to you about the 3 pillars of a brand awareness campaign that is going to consistently solidify your new market leading position. So we are going to have a ton of content for you this evening. Who is excited? I'm just, oh yeah. Oh, I love it. I love seeing an F-bomb, Julia. Thank you very much. I love it. I love it. I love it. Janice is here. Fantastic. All right, you guys, this is awesome. We are going to have such a good time today. I promise you. However, I know that there's also some new people on here, and I know several of you have invited friends to watch this training because you've had a great experience either with me during a Marketing to Millionaires Intensive, or you're in one of our programs, or you work with me privately. And so I know that you've invited a lot of people because this has been such a game changer for you guys. So let me allow myself to introduce myself for those of you who are new to me. My name is Kelly O'Neill, and I am a brand marketing strategist that specializes in positioning people to be able to attract affluent clients. Okay, so I help companies really set up that foundational brand strategy, that linchpin position in the marketplace, and then I help them build a profitable business around their genius. I've written a few books. I am a best-selling author. I've got another book coming out as soon as I get it to my publisher. He's seriously going to kill me if I don't get it to him. I am an international speaker. I literally speak all over the world. I have a 5-star rated podcast called the Profit-logy podcast. And I have been doing this for a really long time. And I think it's really important, especially with this, to give you a little bit of my background in how I got to be doing the work in the world that I'm doing now with entrepreneurs, and why I'm the most renowned positioning strategist in the entrepreneurial market. So prior to starting my own business in 2001, I had a very successful career in brand marketing, brand market positioning, and public relations. And I started when I was 19 years old. I took an internship. I worked a nanny job. I went to college full-time. And then I also took an internship because I've always been a little bit of a go-getter. right? So I took an internship at a public relations company, and I started my career much earlier than most people. What was really great for me there is I've always been like a curious little sponge. Like, I probably drove my parents absolutely batshit when I was like 5 years old, because I was like, why? Why? Tell me more. Well, why is that? Why do you do it this way? Can you explain this to me? They're like, no, like, go watch Sesame Street or whatever you do, right? Because I just wanted to know all the answers. And I've always been curious like that, because I like to know how things work. And I like to know, I have a really high strategist energy about me. And I like to know how to solve problems and dig into dig into things like that. I don't know if any of you guys are like that as well. So that's what I did. I got into this internship. I started asking all the questions. And this was a big Silicon Valley agency. So by the time I graduated from college, I had already had several years of working at this agency under my belt. So I leapfrogged into these really prestigious agencies in the Silicon Valley in the tech world, and started working with, companies like Epson and Kingston and a bunch of other tech companies like Oki Semiconductor and other ones that you probably would only know if you were in the Silicon Valley. But I eventually got hired away by Intuit. And when I was at Intuit, I was hired to help position the Quicken products to launch. That was my job. I launched the Quicken products. I launched Quicken 98, 99, and 2000. And that's really when I learned the art of launching, and I learned the art of product positioning. I got to work with some of the best agencies in the world, like Manning, Salvage and Lee out of New York. I had agencies that I was managing in Paris, in Milan, in LA, New York, San Francisco, just really all over the world, the best of the best. And you betcha that when I would go and work with our agencies, even when I was internal, I was asking questions and I was digging deeper, and I was really listening to what was going on as these big multi-million dollar agencies were positioning these massive clients, right? Like massive multi-million dollar clients. This was big business. So throughout my career, what ended up happening is I got very good at positioning very young. And I just also had a knack at it. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is positioning your business around your zone of genius. We all have innate genius that we're born with. And for me, somehow or another, when I came into the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, said, and we're going to make you brilliant at positioning, right? So it's just easy for me, and it's natural, and it's fun, and I love it. And I got to work really like with the best of the best of the best of the best people. And again, ask them questions ad nauseum. So I became known in the Silicon Valley during the dot-com boom as a sharpshooter for positioning companies. And I would start, when we were in the dot-com boom, I started to get brought into companies to essentially flip them, right? So they would call me in and they would say, here's my goal. I either need to get more funding, I need to raise my business valuation so I get the terms that I desire, I want to get acquired, or I want to go public. And I need you to reposition the company to make that happen. And that's what I would do. I would get in there, I would see what was going on, I would do all the market research, and then I would reposition the company in the marketplace, and we would get our results time and time and time again. And so literally I got this reputation in the Silicon Valley as the go-to positioning expert for high ticket company flips. Okay, so that is what I did. And eventually in 2001, just like many of you, I was an executive when I was in my 20s, making multiple six figures. I was a little bit of a phenom in that arena. And what happened was, though, is that I saw a consultant's bill come across the desk, and I was like, wait a minute. You only worked a couple months and you're billing what I got paid in a year. Like, this is ridiculous. So I'm like, I'm going to start my own company. And that's what I did. So in 2001, I ventured out. I started my own consulting company, and I still was in that game. I had already positioned myself. By the way, I'm going to be utilizing these stories, you guys, as a way to show how to position yourself. I had already positioned myself in the industry as the go-to person, right? Reporters were saying, oh, you need to hire Kelly O'Neill. Companies, my name was getting around and getting circulated. And one of my clients, when I started my consulting company, was Morpheus. You guys may remember that from the Napster days, the whole Napster lawsuit. Well, I was hired with Morpheus as a consultant to come in and do the exact same thing. I helped reposition them. I helped create a movement. Their lawsuit went away. They got their funding, and boom, success. And it took about 2 years to make all of that happen. So, because I was one of the most sought out brand positioning people in the industry, I was getting a lot of offers, right? I got featured, especially after Morpheus, because what I was able to accomplish, people said it couldn't be done. And I was like, hold my beer. I got that. Well, it's really more like hold my Merlot, but whatever. So I said, watch this, I'm going to get it done. And so I did, and I won awards, I was featured in the press, and so I did what any person who's absolutely nuts in that circumstance would do. When I was at the top of my game in this tech market, I quit PR in tech. And people were like trying to throw money at me to have me come back and work on stuff. And I said, you know what, you guys, I really want to help. I want to help entrepreneurs, because by that time I'd started up my business and I'd been running my business, and I had clients. I was well positioned in the marketplace, but I knew that I had so much to learn and so much potential in what I wanted to teach and how I wanted to help entrepreneurs like me overcome some of the hurdles that I was facing, because I was learning it the hard way. I was trying to read books and pull things together and just ask questions, and I was kind of winging it in building business. So what I realized was that when I got into the business development market and I started going to all the trainings, you guys, I have studied with so many brilliant entrepreneurs. Dan Kennedy. My first coach was Alan Weiss he wrote the book $1 Million Consultant. I've studied just with some of the greatest people in the world, some of which who have become my peers, some of which they're brilliant at what they do, right? And so today I've got a few multi-million-dollar brands, and I support entrepreneurs just like you in designing and building businesses that are profitable, sustainable, and that they give you your life back so that you can live on your terms. Because I did the work really, really hard thing, the hustle. I hustled for decades. And then I was like, I'm tired of hustling. How many of you in here are tired of hustling and grinding? Let's hear it, right? I want to hear, like, I'm done. Right? I see Caitlin giving hearts, right? Like, I'm over it. I'm over it, you guys. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. I am too old for that crap. I'm not doing it, right? So because I build and design businesses so differently than anyone in the market, my clients really actually get it, right? And I'm sure they will tell you that in the comments. They will let you know that everything I'm saying to you right now is it doesn't matter that it's here, or if it's in our Profit-logy business incubator group, or whether they're working with me privately, right? Like, this is how I roll. So I want to talk to you for a minute about the whole feeling like you are the world's best kept secret. And for those of you who are just joining, I had asked a question earlier. Maria, I love you. She says, F the hustle. I'm not going to say that word just live, but I'm so with you in sentiment on that, right? No hustle. Natalie says, full show. I love it. You can tell which ones are my clients. They're very versed in using the F-bomb. They're like, whatever. But I do want to talk to you about that for a minute, because I so get that, because that's exactly how I felt, right? Because again, when I had been in the market of tech and they understood what strategy was, and they understood what positioning was and how critical that was to, invest in. And when I was in, as a consultant in the tech world, I mean, I would charge, tens of thousands of dollars, all the way up to 6 figures to come and consult with someone on their positioning, because it was ultimately going to have a multi-million dollar, sometimes tens of millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars of an outcome, right? So they were very happy to pay me whatever I wanted to come in and help reposition them. But when I got into the entrepreneurial market, it was a different story, right? So, here I go into the entrepreneurial market. I have all this brilliant corporate experience. I've got all this world-class training and mentors, but I really didn't feel like people got what I did. And to be honest with you, I don't think they did. And I think that the reason that they didn't was because I was explaining myself perfectly for a corporate market, but not perfectly for an entrepreneurial market. One of the things that we're going to talk a lot about tonight is we're going to talk about your market to message match. Your market to message match. The way that I can explain things in a corporate market or to people who have extensive corporate experience is very different in the way that I explain things to an entrepreneur who's maybe starting a business for the first time. It's just different, right? And so I didn't feel like people got what I did. And I would talk about strategy and how absolutely essential it is and that they didn't need to work this hard. And a lot of the times in the way that I was talking about it, they would glaze over because so much of what other people were talking about in the marketplace and still is today, in fact, actually, I think it's a worse problem today, is they're actually talking about tactics, right? And then what creates even more confusion is, and I see this a lot, and so I'm going to differentiate it for you guys tonight. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're calling tactics strategy. So they're actually confusing you guys even more. And I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think it's because they don't know actually the difference, right? And so we're gonna dive into that, right? And again, I would talk about positioning, and I would get the Scooby-Doo look where they're like, huh? Like they didn't get it. And I was like, you guys, how can you not have positioning in your business? Like, this is how I've made multiple six figures in the, my first year in the business. And they really didn't understand. So here's what I would do. Tell me if any of you have done this before. I just kept talking, using the same message over and over and over again. And I would communicate more. And I would send more emails with the same message. And I would send more articles. And I would do more videos. And freaking crickets. And then they would look at me like, I don't know what the F you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, it was so frustrating. Have you guys ever had that experience? I mean, I know I'm not alone in that. Like, is anyone else ever experienced that? I'm just going down into the comments here. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Jackie. Yeah, it's like, drop that below. Like, let me know. Yeah, Annie says, sounds familiar, right? And I know that this is true because I know a lot of my clients have said to me, like, I feel like the world's best kept secret. It was so frustrating. And even though I was renowned for my positioning expertise, I was actually having trouble conveying my corporate speak, right? And I knew that I could help them. And I knew that the work that I did would literally change their life and business, as it has for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that I've worked with. But I wasn't able to communicate, right? So if this is you, again, I want to make sure that you stay to the end, or that you make sure you catch the replay, because I'm going to share something with you tonight that is going to shave years off of your growth and help you feel so brilliantly confident in your communications. And when you feel clear and when you feel confident, and please never underestimate the importance of that clarity and confidence, because that is what translates to money in the bank. It is not all the things. It's not the fancy dancy video. It is not the, the 92-piece funnel, right? It's not those things. When you have clarity and you have confidence in what it is that you're doing, it's going to result in sales for you, right? And who does not want more sales of their ideal clients, right? Plus so much more. So you're going to have so much more, you're going to save so much more time, so much money. You're never going to get the dumb look again, right? When you're trying to say your elevator pitch. By the way, who here would love help with your elevator pitch, right? So type that below, like, yes, I want help with my elevator pitch, right? You're going to resonate like never before with your affluent clientele. Your clients are not even going to consider working with someone else, because you will be the absolute clear and only choice that makes sense, even if you're charging significantly more than your competitors, right? So who here, and again, I want to hear it, who here wants that level of clarity, that kind of confidence, And who here wants to feel and know that you have a one-of-a-kind brand? Who wants that? Drop it below. I want to see emojis. I want to see Natalie. I love Nat. You guys all meet Natalie. She's one of our Profit-logy Business Incubator students, and she is hilarious. She says, elevator pitch, come to me. Yes, exactly, you guys. It is such a game changer that when you finally have that, your sales will start popping, and I'm going to share some stories about that tonight. Your sales will start popping like this. Like it'll blow your mind. You'll be like, I can't believe it was this easy, right? Because here's the thing that I learned a long time ago, and I want to remind all of you of. The answer is never about doing more of something, especially when it's not working. It's not doing more. The answer is not the hustle. It's not grinding. It's not adding to. The answer is strategy, right? We have a saying in our Profit-logy Business Incubator. In fact, I'm getting t-shirts made, literally. I had a conversation with the gentleman today. Strategy is the new hustle, right? So if you guys are ready to have some fun, let's dive in. Grab your paper, grab your pens. You are going to want to take notes. Again, you may even want to go back and watch this again because I'm going to give you a lot of information tonight, and I really want to know what makes the most sense to you. And also, if you have any questions or anything, please drop them in the comments. My team will answer them. I will answer them. You know, I may not do it during this live, but I will go back and I will answer it. You guys, this stuff works. I want to tell you really quickly about, and I think I saw her on here, so let's all give Miss Jackie Ramsey a high five. Jackie, when she came to me, she joined our Profit-logy Business Incubator program, I think about a month ago. And when she came to me, she was charging $35 as a virtual assistant, and she was really having trouble closing sales. And when I got in and I started talking to her about what she actually did, I was like, why are you calling yourself a virtual assistant? Why? And what I'm really saying is, why have you positioned yourself as a virtual assistant? Why have you done that? And she's like, well, that's what they told me to do, and that's what I've been doing, and that's kind of the advice I received, and I kind of did it that way, right? And I said, girlfriend, that is not at all what you do. I was like, what you do is you make it, by the way, if you guys want someone who makes it so that your business runs without you, that's what she does. And when we worked on her positioning and we helped her to get very clear in her positioning and very clear in her messaging, within a week or two, and we did her we positioned her offer, we got clear on her intellectual property and her methodology, and within, I think, a week or two, maybe two, I'm not sure, it was a week or two, she closed a $20,000 brand new client, and I think she has another one that she is in the works on. So she went from charging $35 an hour to that she was having trouble selling, not making the money at all that she desires, to $20,000 to $40,000 in a month, right? Her skill set didn't change. Her knowledge didn't change. Here's what changed. We repositioned her appropriately, and because she was so clear and so confident, and she had such clear positioning, that when she went to have a telephone call with someone, they literally signed up on the spot, right? Which is what your affluent clients will do when that's the case, right? And this is not, I mean, and Jackie's amazing, right? But this is not a one-of-a-kind story. This is happening all the time with my clients when we are repositioning. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go over what strategic positioning really is, right? And why it's not only the most critical component of your business strategy, but it's also the most overlooked. So when I was in college, one of the required reading, books for me, I wish I had, I always usually have it right here. I know I do. It's somewhere, I don't know. I actually probably was looking at it the other day. I have the book. It's called Positioning: The Battle for Your Mind by Al Reese and Jack Trout, right? It's basically marketing porn for me. I love it. It's amazing, right? And what I learned was, and again, coming from corporate America, and I've been in a lot of training programs. I've worked with a lot of coaches. I've been really blessed. I've worked with really phenomenal people who are very gifted at their genius in the world. I've also sat in on a lot of seminars, and I've listened to webinars and whatnot. And what I find is that, especially nowadays, people are throwing around the word branding a lot, and they're throwing around the word positioning a lot. And the reason why is because it is a hot way to position their services, and so it sells, right? However, what I actually find is when I'm listening to most of these people, right, they're not actually defining what positioning. They're using a very tactical definition of positioning because that's all they know, right? It's not that they're trying to mislead anyone or anything like that, but that's actually what they know, right? They've never, and in fact, actually, when I look at their businesses are often not positioned in the best way that they can, right? So I'm going to talk to you about what I call 2 segments of positioning. So here we go. So this is going to be a game-changing definition for those of you who have not. I would be very surprised if any of you have heard this before, unless you've worked with me. So big P positioning, right? That big, I talk about big P positioning and little p positioning. By the way, also when I teach business strategy, I talk about big S strategy and little s strategy because there's 2 totally different things. So in your big P positioning, the goal is to answer the question, what position do you want to occupy in the minds of your ideal affluent clients? What position do you want to occupy in the mind of your ideal affluent clients, right? That is the first question that must be answered, right? So I want to give you an example that everyone knows. So when you think of BMW, what do you guys immediately think of? Right? And there's a reason for this, and it's not because it was an accident, right? Let's see. Oh my gosh, Natalie, you're so funny. I think my comments are lagging. You guys are like commenting like crazy. We already have 280 comments, and I've only been talking for 30 minutes. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Right? There's lots of different luxury cars, and people who are looking at these different luxury cars, typically people are like the BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, Lexus, right? It's like along that train. But BMW had to separate itself, especially with its luxury sedans. Like, how are they going to differentiate themselves from Mercedes? Well, they made it about the ultimate drive, right? When you think of tissue, what do you think of? Right? Kleenex. Right, of course. So Kleenex is not, there's other manufacturers of tissue, but do we even know what it is? I mean, even if you go and buy the generic stuff, you don't say, I need some tissue. You go, I need to go buy some Kleenex from the store. That is a well-positioned brand. So in our industry, when people say marketing to the affluent, the very first person, they're like, go call Kelly O'Neill, right? When they say brand positioning, go call Kelly O'Neill, right? Like, that is what I am known for in the industry. So you have to decide what that big P position is going to be for you, right? And it is not enough, and I have to tell you, it is not enough for you to say, like, I want to be known as a life coach, or I want to be known as a healer for women. That's not positioning. That is a brand, a brand, right? That is not a brand, excuse me. That is like a title of what you do. Like, that's like me saying, I am a business consultant. That is not positioned. And also then you're going to go up against, like, I wouldn't even position myself that way because I'm going up against people like, Tony Robbins or whatever. It's not realistic. So I want to hear, and I want to see you guys kind of drop below, who here has their positioning. Who do they think has nailed it? Drop it below, right? Natalie, stop giving them the answers before I give it to them. All right, so little p positioning. right? Little P positioning. So the first one is what position do you want to occupy in the mind? Little P positioning is all of the strategic positions that support that big position, like product positioning, the pricing strategies that you use, your target market segment, right? Like that as itself, like, again, I specialize in marketing to affluent clients, right? That is a target market segment positioning. Different marketing campaigns you use, all of these different things help you solidify your positioning. So I want you to think about it like this, because you need both. The little P positionings, those tactical positionings, those are like the legs of your table, right? Those are the legs of your table. But your big P positioning is the top of your table. It's the thing that holds everything together. And it's ultimately the umbrella that you want to be known for. And that doesn't change. And in fact, if you start to go against that, you're destroying your position, right? So your big P position has to be big enough, but niched enough that you are known for that thing in your market and that you are the clear and only choice, right? So what the challenge is that what I'm seeing in a lot of these programs is people are talking about positioning, and I would always ask them, they'll say, well, I already have a positioning. And I go, okay, well, what's that? And by the way, what is your definition of positioning? And then they give it to me and I'm like, that's not correct. Let me explain it, right? Because again, a lot of people are talking about little P positioning. They're just utilizing that word, okay? And again, it's just because they don't know, because, you know, they maybe read a book about positioning, or, you know, maybe they took a class or a webinar or whatever, and so they're talking about it, but they just don't have that breadth and experience that I've been blessed enough to have to actually understand what goes into positioning, you know, a multi-million-dollar brand, or to position companies like yours to become those million or multi-million-dollar companies, right? And it's really overlooked, because here's what I want to tell you. There's a lot of things in business that you can do yourself, right? Just like if you think about it in terms of like this, with medical, right? If you, like I actually scratched my elbow the other day. I don't need to go see a surgeon for that, right? Like I pulled out my doTERRA, you know, which Neosporin, my holistic Neosporin, and I put it on there and I called it a day, right? There's other things that I, you know, if something in my house breaks, there's some things I can fix, but let me just tell you, if like the coils on my air conditioner go out, I need to call a specialist to come in and fix it. And there's things in your business that you can absolutely do, right? There's things that all of us can do, whether it is writing or doing video or, you know, whatever the case may be. There's all these things that all of us can do. But there's times that you need to call in a specialist, because there's things that no amount of DIY is going to help you figure out, right? No amount of DIY. It would be a waste of your time. Like I will tell you for myself, I do not want to learn how to do all my books and file my tax returns, right? I don't want to keep up on tax code I don't want to keep up on tax code every year. That's why I have a brilliant bookkeeper and an amazing CPA. So it's the same thing, right? This is not something, what I'm talking about and helping people get done is not something that they teach you in college. You cannot just pick up a book and study it, because it is a combination of a process and an art, right? And so strategic positioning, a world-class brand, requires the precision and skill set of like a neonatal brain surgeon, right? And you don't want a general practitioner hacking on your brain. That's not what you want, right? Especially when your entire business communication strategy and your go-to-market strategy is going to be based on this, right? We don't want some business coach that, I mean, and no offense to business coaches. I have several friends that are business coaches. I am in programs that are phenomenal. It's no down on that, but we don't want someone who does not have expertise trying to position your business, right? That it's 99% of the time, I will tell you, it is a disaster. It is a disaster, and it wastes a ton of time, money, and energy. I've been studying it for 25 years. I've got the greatest mentors in the world, many of them who studied with Jack and Al themselves. So I do it now really quickly for entrepreneurs, right? But I will also tell you, doing it for myself was a huge challenge. When I can get on the phone And sometimes, you know, I can sit in a room with someone in a very short amount of time. I can help figure out that thing, the position for them that I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. But for me, it took me months or, you know, sometimes years to really be able to figure it out. And I don't have anyone to go to, right? So there's no one, you know, unless I was able to get in front of Jack and Al themselves, I don't have someone to go with, right? So it is not something. I don't want you to beat yourself up if you were like, I've been trying to nail this for years. I've been trying to figure out how to say this and I can't figure it out. Well, guess what? I don't know how to do brain surgery either. And I sure as hell am not going to be filing my tax returns, right? So we all have our genius, and you know, I'm going to help you with this one because this one's mine. All right, so secret number 1, I want to talk to you about how to become the market leading expert in an oversaturated industry, even if you are brand new in business. Okay, more recently, people have been, and it's actually so brilliant. People have been talking about this concept called the blue ocean positioning. How many of you here have heard, I saw Natalie before raise this, how many of you before have heard of the book Blue Ocean Positioning? Here's what's so interesting and brilliant about this. Blue ocean positioning is them trying to reposition positioning in the industry of positioning, right? Which is so fantastic. So I want to talk to you very specifically about, but I'm going from this, right? I'm going from this because so many of you at least have heard of what that is. So when we talk about, or when they talk about blue ocean positioning, which is really just positioning, although I don't like the way they phrase it, and I'll tell you why. Because the way that they phrase it, and I looked it up on their website, they say blue ocean strategy is the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost. Boo for low cost, right? To open up a new market space and create new demand. It's about creating and capturing uncontested market space, thereby making the competition irrelevant. I agree with everything they said except for the low cost, because in my world, that is not what it's about. In fact, actually, one of the ways I often position my clients is to be the most expensive in their marketplace, which people are happy to pay. And I'm going to give you an example of that in a minute. But the idea is to find the hole in your market that is underserved and claim it as the leader very strategically. So when I work with someone, and I'm going to give you guys lots of examples of this, you know, we are having to look at competition. And some of you, and a question I get a lot is, well, like, I don't believe in competition because I believe that the world is abundant. There's a lot of people out there. I have that philosophy as well. And also, the reality of the situation is that your clients are looking at other people before they buy you. I had a wonderful enrollment call. I had a referral from one of my beautiful, amazing clients this morning. I got to meet a new, she is a nurse practitioner who's up to some amazing things in Honduras. And she called me this morning and she said, I've talked to a bunch of other people and we had the most lovely conversation, and she signed up to work with me privately right there on the spot, right? When you are well positioned and you know your market and you're confident in your offer, you're able to do that. And it's not about the price, because she has other lower priced options. It's about getting the results. So we are going to position you as the go-to person for the specific result that your ideal client desires in a way and manner that nobody else is providing, right? There has to be differentiation. And for a lot of reasons. Number one, because in an oversaturated marketplace, if you are not standing out, you are invisible. I want you to write that down. If you are not standing out, you are invisible, period. Right? And especially now, it's absolutely critical. So I want to talk to you about, I'll give you an example of this. I have a client of mine. So I primarily work with service-based companies, but there's always an outlier. And one of my favorite outliers is Dr. Hache and his wife, Lori, and their son, Rob Van Bergen. And they came to me and they have an amazing device. I have it. They have an advice for any of you who have pain challenges. By the way, you should check out their Avazia device. I usually have, oh, it's right here. Hold on, I'll get it because it's very interesting. So they came to me And this is the Pain Free for Life device. It's an Avazia device. And they came to me, and they have a licensing arrangement for this product and program. And they came to me and they said, you know, we've been trying to build this business for years. We've tried to work with a bunch of different people. It's not working. We don't know what's going on. We heard that you are the best at positioning, and I think we need some help. So that's exactly what we did. They're selling the same product in many cases that not a lot, because there's not a lot of people selling these, but Avazia is actually a device manufacturer. Here's the interesting thing. The Avazia device does not work without the protocols that Dr. Hache wrote. And they weren't really talking about that much at all. So I went in and I said, this is all about this is all positioning. Like, we're not going to change the device. We're not even changing I mean, we tweaked the pricing a little bit, but it wasn't about that. It was about how they were positioning this in the marketplace in a way, again, that made their competition irrelevant. And that's what we did. We created a brand called Pain Free for Life. You can check it out at painfreeforlife.com. And what we did was we positioned them that the device is just one component, because they actually have something called the Hache protocol, which is a protocol for resolution of chronic pain. And with that, we also creating components of their offering and service that no one else on the market was offering. Their revenues, and I'm not going to disclose exact numbers, but let me just tell you, I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot of job security. Their revenues went skyrocket. Their competition is calling them saying, how did you do this? Who did you hire? And see, now I won't work for competition, right? So, but they're asking, like, how did you do this? You've locked up the market. The company is growing at a breakneck speed. Like, in fact, we're putting on the brakes trying to hire people because they have so much demand now that it's just rolling. Positioning. It was market positioning. That's what it was that created that drastic switch. And they said, we wish we'd met you 10 years ago. So whether it is something like this, whether it's a device, whether it is a service, or whatever it is that you're offering, everything can be positioned in a way that makes your competition irrelevant. And that's that big tabletop that I'm talking about. You need to get your blue ocean, you need to get that blue ocean positioning for yourself. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is how to rewrite the rules of your industry and develop intellectual property that makes your competition irrelevant to your ideal clients. So you can do this with any service-based business. And I'm not talking about, like, a lot of people talk about, like, well, you need your signature product, you know, your flagship product, you need your signature system. And I agree with that, right? I agree with that, although I don't agree with the way that a lot of it's being taught, because a lot of it is telling you to create a formula, but the formula sounds the same as everyone else. And so by that nature, the very thing that that's supposed to do, which is differentiate you, actually kind of makes you sound a little bit like everybody else, right? So we need to lock up your intellectual property. And again, we're looking for that hole in the market, right? What's going on in your industry that people are talking about, that it's an issue, that when you solve that issue and you make that issue go away for people, it's going to change the game, right? So again, like we did this with Pain Free for Life, right? We created this intellectual property around their protocols and around their Hache protocol. We created an entire membership program around it to offer training and services, which no other person in the industry was offering. And quite frankly, they can't, because Dr. Hache wrote the protocols. So we started to offer all these different services that no one else was offering, because everyone else was just trying to sell devices. And I'm like, no, we're gonna actually take this a whole different level. We're gonna actually become a company that is an advocate of all of the solutions to help solve and resolve chronic pain. Wendy Sterling, who I believe I saw is on here. I love Wendy. If any of you are getting divorced, if any of you ladies are getting a divorce, or you know anyone, Wendy did the same thing. You know, when she came to me, Julia Meckler, we'll get it's painfreeforlife.com. And by the way, Robert is also in the incubator, so you can just connect directly with him. So Wendy Sterling came to me. She, you know, again, she was already onto something. she was already on to something. And we just tweaked her positioning. We tweaked how she's offering things. We tweaked her intellectual property to make sure, because when she was first coming to me, she kept giving me intellectual property in a way, or brainstorming intellectual property in a way that I think is the way that other people are teaching. And I'm like, no. We need to position this in a way that no one else can touch it, right? That nobody else can touch this positioning. And she created a program for women that is the first and only of its kind, called Divorce Rehab. And her objective is to help women who are transitioning out of divorce really like get over the pity party, like, you know, not stay stuck in a feeling, you know, of victim and abandonment and all those things, and like redefine the next chapter of their life. And the formula and format that she uses in her intellectual property is what makes this program so unique and so incredibly different. And the minute I wrote it, I read it, and helped her with it, I literally got chills, like chills. I'm like, yes, we nailed it, right? Same with my client, Suzanne Mueller, who is she is a traditional licensed psychotherapist, but she is also a healer and wants to get out of traditional practice. And so the way that she is going about healing people, though, is very, very, very different, because she's blending those two modalities together. And so we came up with the Hertig approach for her, which is a rapid resolution to trauma-based issues. Rapid. In one day, she can basically accomplish what most people take 20 years of therapy to resolve. And we called it the Hertig approach. You cannot guess where you can get the Hertig approach? With Suzanne Mueller. That's it. You cannot go anywhere else for that, because she's branded it, and because she knows it works and she's had a track record, it's priceless. The same thing I did with my Profit-logy process, right? I started to look around my market, and I said, this market is flooded with coaches, some phenomenal, some shitty, right? Some totally unqualified. And I started to listen to what all my clients were saying. And this is actually how this is how I was able to address why most businesses are not getting the success that they desire. And our entire Profit-logy business incubator program is modeled after this Profit-logy process. And you guys, you can go, if you want to see, I did a training on Thursday. If you missed it, go back and watch that, because I talked all about the Profit-logy process. But because I'm teaching that, and because I created it, no one else can. I mean, sure, they can rip me off and try to call it something else, but everyone's going to be like, really? Because that's Kelly O'Neill's Profit-logy process. Like, it just is, right? I mean, it's trademarked, like they can't, right? And so this is the way that you create that intellectual property that is going to make it impossible, right, for your clients to copy you without looking like, or not your clients, excuse me, your for your your competition to copy you without looking like total douchebags and frauds, right? So we want to keep adding these beautiful layers, like it's like a symphony, right, to your brand and your position, that makes you stand out and makes you that clear choice of one, right? So if you've got any questions about that training, just ask my team, tag Innovate Concierge, and she can tag you in it, or you guys can go and find it. But you all have intellectual property in you, whether you know it or not. And I've never met someone, I've done it for a construction company. I did it, and we got press coverage on that one. So I've done it for a construction company. I've done it for a quilting company. I've done it for lawyers, doctors, consultants, coaches, healers. I've done it, interior designers, you name it. We all can have that, right? And I will also tell you that most of the other people in your industry probably don't have that. So that's, again, another way to set you apart. All right, the third component is the 3 pillars of your brand awareness campaign that are going to consistently solidify your market leading position. So first we get that big P position, then we nail down some of the little P positionings, right? So we got those 2 things. We layer in your intellectual property and make sure that you're standing out, and that your offers are standing out, and that all of the way that you're serving your clients now is standing out. And the next thing is, we got to get people to know what that is. Okay, so we have to create a brand awareness campaign. Okay, so you need 3 things to create a highly successful brand awareness campaign. Number 1, and I teased this before, I said you need the right message, you need the right market, right? And you need to connect those 2 things. This is what's going to connect those 2 things. So the right market. It is possible for you, depending on how big your business is, although I do not recommend this for businesses starting up. I really recommend that you start with 1 market because it is a lot easier and it's a lot less expensive. And also you will need team really to go after 2 markets. I personally have 2 markets. So my overall big P positioning speaks to both, as it should. Right? My big P positioning speaks to both. My product level positioning, little p positioning, speaks to one or the other. So I either work with high 6, 7, and 8-figure business owners, right, as a consultant to help them scale and leverage and dominate their industry, right? To scale and leverage their business and dominate their industry while increasing profit and making sure that they're building a world-class team that runs their business for them, okay? So that's one market. I also work with aspiring thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are looking to get their business to multiple 6 figures and create a scalable foundation to grow to the next level. So those markets and those messages are very different, right? So so people ask me all the time, and this is why I'm addressing this, can I have 2? The answer is yes. I will also tell you that requires 2 different marketing campaigns, channels. We're going to get to that in a minute. Okay. So you need that right market for you and for the service you offer. This also becomes part of your positioning strategy. So you don't want to work with everyone. I don't work with everyone. I don't work with MLMs, right? I have nothing against MLMs. I just don't work with them. It's not my bailiwick. It's not my game, right? I don't work with, when people call me and they're like, I want you to teach me how to sell online courses. Not my gig. There's tons of people out there that are way better at that than me, right? I stick to my lane. I stick in my area of genius, right? I dabble in my area of excellence, and anything other than that, I stay the hell away from, because there's too many people doing all the things anyways. So we've got to find that for you, the right market for your genius. The next thing is we got to identify that right message, right? So we talked a little bit about the big P positioning, but now we need the 3 or so messages that you're going to be consistently conveying over and over and over again. And the way that you're going to identify that is you're going to want to know, what is your market talking about, right? A good place to look is, what are they pissed about? Where do they feel like it's like, oh, I wish that they had, right? This is how we create market disruptors. Like, look at Amazon. Gee, I wish someone would just ship toilet paper to my house. Well, lo and behold, look at that, right? They have taken a gazillion people out of the market because they are so well positioned, nobody can touch them. Uber, same thing, right? They may have a little competition with Lyft, but people are pretty, they're pretty dedicated to one or the other, typically. Also in your messaging, the third thing, the other thing that I want you to go for is, you need to be clear and you need to be bold. You need to be bold in your messaging. And that means saying some of the stuff out loud that no one is talking about. When the coaching market got really saturated and a lot of unqualified coaches got into the market, I became very vocal, not because I want to be a shitty person, but because I feel like this is important. I addressed the issue that there was a white elephant in the room and no one was addressing it. And I'm like, I think there's a lot of unqualified coaches out there that are actually destroying entrepreneurs' businesses. And we need to get them qualified. We either need to get them qualified, or there needs to be some regulation here going on, or we need to figure out a way to make sure that they invest in, we need to help them become discerning buyers, right? Conscious buyers. And that's part of what the Profit-logy process came from. But I addressed that. You know, I make claims that, and not claims because I'm not for the sake of being outrageous, but because I believe they're true. You know, it's like, I just watch some of my blog articles that come out. You know, I have another one coming out called, it's something to the effect of why the online business model is failing, right? Why the online business model is failing, you know, and this really flies in the face of a lot of what people are saying. I'm not doing that to be controversial. I'm doing that to create perspective and to get people asking questions to themselves, right? I think that, and I'm not going to address that whole article here, but that's an example. You need to be clear and you need to be bold in your messaging, because let me just tell you, people are putting out content at a rate that is absolutely insane. It's insane, you guys. If your message is not bold and clear, it's not going to be heard, right? And the third thing that you need, right? So we've got the right market, the right message for that market, and you need the right content and channels for consistent distribution. The right content and channels for consistent distribution. And I got news for you guys. Social media is just one channel, right? Social media is just one type of channel. There are lots of different ways to get your message heard. And this is actually part of what I was talking about with the whole online business thing. You know, integrated marketing communications is way more effective, right? It is way, way, way more effective for a majority of markets. There may be a few markets where you know, social should be the predominant, especially if we're talking to like millennials and that sort of thing, but that integrated, right? So you need to look at the types of content that you're putting out, whether it be books, whether it be articles, whether it be blogs, whether it be videos, whether it be, you know, Alexa short messages, you know, whatever it is, you know, whether it be, you know, a speech or a webinar or a live, like what is the kind of content that you're putting out? And then what are the channels that you are putting out on? Are you putting out this message on podcasts? Are you going on television? Are you going on radio? Are you doing speaking? Are you using social media? If you are using social media, what is the best channel that is that has your market in it? Because you don't need to be doing all the things. I am never going to use Pinterest in my business. Well, I never say never, but right now for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to use Pinterest. Guess what else I'm not using? Snapchat, right? I've got 3 channels that I use. I use Facebook, I use Instagram because it is the fastest growing up market for the markets that I serve, and I use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn very specifically for my higher end clients and for my private 6, 7, and 8 figure clients. And then I use Facebook and Instagram for the other ones. Different messages, different channels, right? So you want to make sure that to get that brand awareness out, that you are setting up, you are addressing the right market and only that market, right? We're not trying to address all the people who breathe because that's not really a market. We want to have the right message that's going to resonate and like ring like a bell with them. And we want to make sure that we're putting out the content that's going to be most appropriate for them, right? That includes length, that includes, like as an example for affluent clients, even if I do a webinar, it is not over 30 or 45 minutes. It's just not. And I do it differently than I would do for something for a different audience segment, right? So we got to make sure that you've got these different market segments. Okay, you guys, I'm taking a deep breath before I transition into the next steps here, but I want to say, is this resonating with you guys? Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Is this feeling like, oh my gosh, yes, I need this, like this is like it's clearing up confusion for you guys. I want to make sure that this is resonating with you. And again, don't forget to drop any questions in the don't forget to drop any questions that you have in the chat. Because I would love to know. Okay, and so Bettina's saying, hi Bettina, brilliant. Yes, yes, yes. I don't even know how to say that, but yes, dude. All right. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, great. Perfect. So here's what we talked about. And this is why I was telling you that you're going to want to stay till the end. So tonight we talked about your big P versus your little p positioning. We talked about developing that affluent blue ocean positioning, right? The top of the table, right? We talked about creating very strategically for your markets these supporting legs, okay? And we talked about creating the brand awareness strategy campaign that gets your message heard by the people that you want to hear your message, right? So what I would love to hear in the comments are, I'd like for all of you to write down, what was your biggest takeaway from that section, right? What was your biggest takeaway from what I was talking about? The thing that maybe the thing that maybe you weren't aware of before, or something that you're like, you know what, I think that I'm not, you know what, like I really need to shore this up, or I need to really revisit my messaging, or I really need to, Tanya, I love you. Tanya English says, when I first heard you say this, it was like a cool water after a long drought. That is our healing with the blues expert. If you like blues music and you would like some healing, Tanya English is your lady. Okay, perfect. So this is obviously making sense to all of you guys. You are loving it. Great, great, great. It's making you think. All right, great. I want to hear specifics from you guys in here. I want to hear very specific comments about, oh my gosh, Jennifer saying, yes, and I have to use the restroom, but I don't want to get up. All right, I'll try to speed it up. All right, great. Being bold and clear. You need to read the book. Jackie even, who just closed this, says, I need to revisit my messaging. Lady, I got your back. All right, so, all right, excellent, excellent. All right, so when you have this clarity, so we're going to go into the last bit here. When you have this clarity and you have this level of strategy, right, you will become untouchable. You will become untouchable to your competitors and magnetizing to your ideal clients, right? I've seen it in my own business, and I've seen it in the thousands of clients that I have had, that I've been blessed enough to work with, right? And it doesn't just work sometimes. It works every time. How many times? Every time, right? When you do this, it works, right? And so I want to know from you guys, what is the one thing that you right now are most excited to take action on? Like if you wrote down your next right step action step, what is that one thing? I want you to drop it in the comment section so that we can support you in that, right? I mean, really picking a market that aligns with your zone of genius. I love that. Yes, so much yes, Katie Childers. Yes, yes, and yes. I really, really want you guys to write down an action step that you are going to take. Okay, so with everything that I've taught you, I have taught you enough to be dangerous, right? I have taught you enough at least to make sure that you don't go out and waste any more time, right? That you're not going to go out and you're going to waste any more money or energy. And you've got enough information right now to know exactly what you need to do next, right? To go out and make some changes. And even if you started making small changes, you're going to get some results off this, right? So for everybody who already has a solid positioning strategy, right? And everything that I covered was just simply a good reminder, like you are good to go. Like you don't need me anymore. Right? You are, I mean, not for this at least, right? Maybe you want to collaborate with our Profit-logy Business Incubator members. I don't know, but you're good and you're golden. And I'd love to see how you're rocking in the world, and we would love to cheer you on and support you. But for those of you who this has been an eye-opening experience, and that you are like, oh shit, I think I've been spinning my wheels here for a bit, right? And you know that feeling of frustration, and you know your elevator pitch sounds like everyone else, and it's not clear, and you know that you're not getting anywhere, right? Because you're just like on this treadmill of spitting out the same stuff over and over again. If you are ready to skip over years of trying to figure out a position that resonates with you, and resonates with your ideal buyers, then stay with me because I'm going to give you a solution right now, right? So I mentioned before that people are often referred to me. And the reason that they're referred to me is because they have tried everything else and it has not worked for them, right? I'm going to give you some examples of this from our clients, right? They're not getting the clients that they desire, right? The right ones. They're marketing their little hearts out, and the ROI compared to how hard they're working, it doesn't make sense. They feel stuck, they feel frustrated, they're not feeling confident, and they don't know what to do. And I have to tell you, with rare exception, maybe like once or twice in the last decade, one of the major issues that they're having is that they are not well positioned and their messages aren't clear for their ideal clients, right? However, not every business person can afford to hire me privately and do 3 private days with me at $15,000 a day, right? So I knew that, and I knew that this is what is keeping so many of you stuck. You know, all of these people that submitted elevator pitches before to me, that they're just so that you guys don't know how to fix it. And I totally get that, right? Like, I wouldn't know how to go in and do brain surgery on myself either, right? So I get that. And I wanted to come up with a solution for you guys that would help you get the results that you desire, but in a really affordable way. And I know you need this to gain traction in your business. So in October, I am going to be doing a one-time workshop. And that workshop is called the Profitable Positioning Workshop. Now, this workshop has extremely limited seating. And one of the things you will know about me, I do not do false scarcity BS. I just don't. I think it's shady and bullshit. The reason why we are keeping this event so small is because this is not me standing up and lecturing for 3 days. I am going to teach something, and then we are going to get to work and workshop it right there. And not only are we going to workshop it right there, I am going to literally have my hands in every single person in that room's business. My team will drop the link for you guys to register, but I have a very, very special deal for those of you who took the action to be here and watch this webinar, and you get it now, and you are committed and you're in. I'm going to make you a very, very special offer. So it has really limited seating. I have to be able to get to every single one of your positioning statements. I have to be able to look at every single one of your intellectual properties and help you develop it and help you get clear and make sure that it is positioned correctly. So to do that, I'm flying out several of my team members plus myself so that we can roll up our sleeves and work very, very intimately with you on this, right? So this workshop can only accommodate 30 people, period. And I believe we already are about halfway sold out, I believe is the number. I didn't actually get an accurate number because I was in meetings all day, okay? Here's what I will tell you, that this is the only workshop in the entrepreneurial market that will be providing you with the ability to nail your blue ocean position, for you to nail your intellectual property, for you to nail your messaging, nail your brand awareness campaign, and do it in 3 days with my help so that you can build a $1 million brand, you can attract those affluent clients, and you can become the clear choice in your market. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody is leaving this workshop without this stuff nailed, period. Like, end of story. I want to make sure that everyone comes out and says, that was the most life-altering, game-changing experience I have ever had in my business, right? And again, you guys, this is not something that you can just go read in a book. Like, you're not going to go and read the book and then be like, oh, I can nail my positioning. It's just not, I mean, frankly, unless you have this vast experience, it's not going to happen, right? And the feedback that I have is, that I am the only one in the marketplace that is teaching this, right? That is from my clients. And that's also from my perspective, right? I know other people are talking about positioning, but they're not doing it to the level that I'm doing, right? And again, it took me decades of daily service, practice, answering questions, and world-class mentors in the best agencies in the world to master the skill. And that's why I'm not leaving it up to you guys, right? Because it's too, you don't need to learn how to do this. You just need to have it done, right? Just like you don't need to learn how to file a tax, how to do your extensive tax returns or code your website or whatever. You need to hire someone who is a genius at doing that with you and for you. And I'm going to work with every single one of you that are in this small workshop. So this is what this is going to look like. Prior to coming to the workshop, right? Prior to coming to the workshop, and I know several of you on here are registering now, or you've registered. Prior to coming to the workshop, and in fact, those of you who are coming, already just drop in like, I'm in. Like I world domination positioning, here we come, right? So prior to even coming to the workshop on September 30th at 5 p.m., don't worry, there's a replay. I'm going to send all of you pre-work to fill out. And I'm also going to have you do a little bit of market research. Not a lot, don't freak. I'm going to help you out with this. But we are going to schedule a private webinar for attendees only to go and make sure that you are well prepared for this event. So please mark your calendar, September 30th, 5 p.m. This event is going to be held in Las Vegas. It's actually about 10 minutes from my house. I have chosen a small off-strip hotel that has no smoke, no casinos, and best of all, no distractions, right? In day one, what we're gonna do is we are gonna nail your blue ocean positioning. We are gonna nail your elevator pitch. We are gonna start to work on your messaging, and there are gonna be hot seats galore, right? There are gonna be hot seats galore. On day two, what we're gonna do is we are gonna continue to work on your messaging. We are gonna develop that intellectual property. And we are going to also reposition your service suite so that your offers close affluent clients on the spot, and they totally align to your big P positioning, right? So we're going to make sure everything gets aligned, right? This is when you stop hustling, right? You can either align or you can hustle. So we're going to get you aligned. And on day three, and this is what I love the best, we're going to be designing your personal brand awareness campaign. And that includes finalizing those core messages, right? And those topics that those bold topics that you become known for in the industry. We're going to identify your ideal platforms, and we are going to develop a monthly and weekly content schedule for you to systemize and repurpose, right, the distribution of your content across multiple channels. So I have developed a methodology for this to be able to get this. I have developed a methodology for you to be able to get this done systematically so that it is no longer a chore. I get all of my content for an entire week done in a day. And again, it's not just about the content that you are utilizing, like you're spraying, you're putting on the web. It's also like how you're getting on podcasts, how you're doing all of these sorts of things. Okay, so that is what's going to be happening on day three. And in fact, I would love it if some of my clients that I've already positioned, if you guys will drop in below, like what your life was like pre-profitable positioning and what it's like now, right? Now is a great time for share with them what, share with them what that's been like for you. Because here's what I can promise you. Because I've watched it happen over and over again. My clients that are in Profit-logy Business Incubator are watching this happen every day with someone else in the group. You will never be more confident in your business. You will never have more clarity in your business. That you will have more of that than ever before, right? And that, again, that confidence, you guys, it translates into your marketing, it translates into your sales, it translates into the way you run your company, and frankly, it translates into the revenue and the profit that you're generating in your business. It is one and the same, because when you're on fire and you know that you are the go-to expert in the industry, your vibe changes. Your clients can feel that. And I want every single one of you to have that, right? You're never gonna have to stumble over your elevator pitch again, right? You're not gonna fumble. In fact, I have a very specific elevator pitch that we are gonna be teaching at that event that is very different than anyone in the industry, and it's way more effective. So we're gonna be teaching that. You're not gonna fumble for your words, you're right. You're not gonna fumble trying to communicate exactly what it is that you do. You're not going to waste any more time and money doing a bunch of crap that falls on deaf ears, right? Our clients share, right? In our groups in here, I'm sure they're sharing it now. Our clients share that this work that they've done, and many of them have already done part of it with me, and they're still coming to this event, right? That this is the rocket fuel that catapulted their business to the next level. And even though they may not have realized it, after they did it, they said, this is the thing that's been keeping me stuck. And once they nailed it, they became like unstoppable forces of nature, because it all just clicked in. It clicked in, and they're like, now I can talk about it. Now I can go full force, right? So where you want to go to enroll, and again, my team's going to throw a link below, but we also have a special offer for you. So you're going to go to profitablepositioningworkshop.com. There's not like a 92-page sales letter, because it's very simple what we are doing, and it is very small. I have a special offer for you because you chose to show up live to this masterclass, and so many of you are staying on. I'm so thrilled. We're going to do something special, and that is that for those of you who have watched this masterclass, you will have access to this specific link, and we're going to offer you $2,000 off the price of the event when you sign up, right? So don't wait, because those seats are going to sell out, right? This is only available to those of you who are watching this, and it is only available until space fills up. Once those spaces are filled, we will turn the page off and it will be gone. So if you are clicking on this link, and if you're watching this and you're like, I need to be there, and you click on the link and it's gone, and I apologize, it's because it's sold out. Because again, I simply cannot look at more than 30 people's positioning in one shot. I mean, I'm good, but I am just one woman, right? I am a human being. And here's the other thing we're going to do for you guys. For the next 48 hours only, and only if it's available, we're going to offer you the option to do it 2 payments if you would like, right? So we're making it as easy as humanly possible for you to get there. For those of you who do decide to pay in full, I'm going to be doing a private 45-minute consulting call after the event. So my clients pay me $5,000 a month to consult with me privately. They get 2 45-minute calls. So you do the math. That is a huge bonus. And what we're going to do is we'll schedule it right after the event so that you have some time to settle. You've got your questions. You know, at this point, I have already figured out what's going on for you in your business, and we can use that time however you'd like, whether it be to create a cash infusion strategy, whether you want me to review some things you've been working on, whatever the case may be. That is your 45 minutes for all of you that pay in full right now. My client, Janice Tyler, who I believe is also on here, she will tell you what a game changer this is. You know, when she came to me, this was her story. She was working with other coaches. I just actually talked to her today because she referred yet another client to me. She's amazing. And, you know, she said, I was working with a coach, and she was telling me, like, you need to do Facebook Lives, and you need to be posting on Instagram, and you need to be posting on social media, and, you know, you need to do all the things. And when literally, I was on the phone with her for all of 3 minutes, and I said, it's not the things. I said, it's the message. She was going in basically saying, you know, I'm a Beachbody certified coach, and I'm helping people do virtual personal training. And I said, yes, you and about 150,000 other people that are doing this thing. So what we did was we repositioned her, right? We repositioned her. We helped her with that intellectual property. I actually have an appointment with her, I think next week. She is coming to the positioning workshop, and we positioned her to create a company called Conveniently Fit, where she is specializing in working with executives and entrepreneurs who are super busy, and they want a super customized virtual training program that leaves them no excuses, but also extremely convenient for them to get fit and to also have the nutrition that they need in a very convenient way. The minute she changed that, it was a game changer for her, right? It has changed her business. So I know that my team is, Wendy says, I will be there. You'll get to meet the amazing Wendy Sterling. You know, my team is throwing the links in there for you. Here's the thing, guys. I know that even though this is such an awesome deal, for some of you, $3,000 may feel like a lot. Here's the deal. You're losing out on at least 10 times more than that every month by not having this nailed. By not having this nailed, you are having what is called opportunity cost. You're having opportunity cost. That means you're losing out on all the sales in the business that you could have because you don't have this nailed, right? And you're likely also wasting a ton of time and maybe even money that you don't need to be wasting. Again, because you're just trying to do it the same old way. And I promise you, whether it's this or something else, you will never out hustle a bad strategy. You won't. There's not enough stuff in the world that you can do to out hustle a bad strategy, right? There isn't enough doing in the world that eventually you're going to have to do this work. So you decide for you. Do you want to figure it out and get it done now, or do you want to waste another year and miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in your small business while you're trying to figure it out yourself, even though you haven't been able to figure it out yourself before? Right? My client Miles Berdash, who's amazing, he's brilliant. Miles has been in a lot of different programs, and he came to me and he's like, I'm spinning my wheels, and I need to work with you. I need to work with you on this. And we found a super unique market position for him. And he now runs a program called Lights, Camera, Flawless, where he works with women like me who are doing Facebook Lives. They're getting out there in the world in a beautiful way, or they want to be, right? And what's happening is they don't really feel confident on camera because maybe they're not sure exactly how they should look or how they should do their makeup. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really not taking more than 15 minutes for my makeup. That's just not happening. Like, I think I literally spent 30 minutes today getting ready, and that was a pretty long get ready. I mean, I want to look pretty, but I'm not one of those girls that spends like 3 hours in the bathroom. I don't have time for that. So what Miles does is he works with women to help them make sure that they feel confident. The minute that he got that done, like, now the opportunities are opening for him. He is connecting with people. He is signing deals. He is going, right? He knows what he needs to be doing. And he spent years and tens of thousands of dollars struggling, going back and forth, trying to figure this out. And he's a smart guy, and he is a brilliant marketer. Wait till you see his video series come out. It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. He's a smart guy. He's not figuring this out on his own, right? So if you know that this is for you, and if you're sitting there and you're thinking like, oh crap, like, should I do this or not? You already know the answer, right? You already know if you need to be there or not. And this opportunity, it's not like I'm doing another one of these in two months. Like, we don't even have one on the schedule right now for next year at all. Like, I don't know if I'll ever do it again. I don't know. Maybe I will. I don't know. But right now, we don't have anything scheduled. This is the first time I've done it, and this may be the last time I do it. And so I don't want you to miss out on this. So if you are a service-based business, right? If you sound, or even think you might sound like everyone else in your market, right? Even if you don't think you are, if you're not sure, drop your elevator pitch below, and I would be happy to take a peek at it for you and let you know if your positioning is on or off, right? If you don't have all the clients that you desire, or you don't have the ones that are willing to pay you what you are worth, right? Then this is for you. This is for you. This is not for MLM companies, right? Or for people that work for other companies where they don't have influence over their own brand. So if you work for Nike and you're like, oh my God, this Kelly woman is amazing, I need to be there. No, I mean, sorry, but like, you don't have any influence over like, Nike's dialed, right? Like, they're good. You guys don't need me. But I want you, for the rest of you, and also, if you're not real serious about your business, this is not the right time. Some of you often ask, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I had a client today say, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I said, you should do this before you even open the doors on your company. This is the first thing that you need to do. This is not something that we wait on. This is not like, this greases the wheel. So you don't want to wait. You do not want to wait on this, because every minute that you're waiting on something like this, the opportunities are flying by because you're not able to connect with them, right? So I would love, love, love to see you come. My clients will tell you that I take my teaching I'm very serious about it. I only put on world-class events. I only put on events that people will leave saying, that is the best thing I have ever done. So, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? You leave. I mean, I don't even know what the worst thing that could happen is. Like, you know, you leave with content. You leave with, new friends, right? If you only use one tiny piece of what, if you only use one tiny piece of what I taught you, and you only got a couple more affluent clients with the new offer you have, you've already returned on your investment. Like, this is a no flipping brainer for you guys that know that this is for you. And guys, like I said, I would charge a private client $45,000 to spend 3 days with me and work on the exact same things privately that I'm going to do for you guys for $3,000 over a course of 3 intense days with me, right? 3 intense days. So look, again, I just want to say this again. You can register at profitablepositioningworkshop.com. My team will drop the link. I'm going to look at every single one of your work multiple times in 3 days. My team's going to look at it. Your peers are going to look at it. And the one other thing that I want to say, and I am not I don't like the whole like FOMO type sales strategy, but here's the other thing that I want to say, and this is important. So for those of you who have hung on, I've talked about this before, and I don't want to like scare anyone and get anyone into a panic, because there's no need, and it really doesn't do you any good. But we know that there's a recession coming. We know that. I said that. I did a whole State of the Union live back in January where I told everyone, I'm like, look, you guys, I've read the analytics, I've read the data. We know that there is a recession coming. And that recession is either going to be a phenomenal thing for your business, or it's going to be the shittiest thing for your business, and it could just take you out of business. It could take you out of business. During the last recession, my business was the most successful it had been at that point to date. It was the most successful than it had been to date. And the reason why is because I was well positioned and I planned for it strategically, which is exactly what I'm working with my clients. And let me just tell you, a lot of people have gotten in to this market. So again, for those of you who have your stuff dialed, for those of you who are well positioned, for those of you who have a good strategy, for those of you who are working with me, you're going to be good, right? We are going to prepare you for this. But but you know who this is not good for? And actually, it's actually kind of good for those of us who have all this stuff together, because what's going to happen is, and not that I like to see anyone suffer or see anyone lose, but the people that weren't taking their businesses seriously, the people who were afraid to invest, the people who were afraid to leap and get things done that they needed to get done, when this recession hits, people who are not well positioned are not going to be able to survive the recession, just like last time, right? How many businesses do you know that during the last recession got wiped out? I will tell you that my database after the last recession, it was like insane how many people were like, I went out of business, I went out of business, I went out of business. You've got to get prepared for this. And that positioning to make sure that you, not only are you going to not weather the recession, but that you are going to thrive in the recession is absolutely critical. And like I said, my team and I are going to be there every step of the way. So you've got to pick what side of the fence you're on. You're either going to be on the side that is well positioned and going to thrive, right? Or you're going to be on the side that is struggling like crazy or gets wiped out, because that's what recessions do. They weed out the people who are not prepared. Okay. So again, engage, like I want to know what you guys are thinking. And I also want to see if there's any questions I can answer for you. Karen says, I got to make this happen. Yes, Karen. Yes, we would love to see you. Yeah, Darla says, positioning will mean survival. I am not joking about that. I'm not saying that as, again, I'm not saying that as a scare tactic or anything else, because I will tell you right now, in my own business, my team and I have been talking about this for 6 months. We have talked about how we are changing our business strategy in order to ensure that we thrive. We've made strategic changes in our business, and we're helping our clients with that as well. Natalie says, I accept your preparation for the recession. Yes, 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 you will, sister. Bettina says it's your big birthday party. Let's see if there's any other, I love it. Lynn says you'll leave with clarity, content, and contracts. Pretty much, Lynn. That's how it rolls. Let's see. Oh, Diana Bertoldo's on. She says, yep, Kelly's events are awesome. All right, you guys, if there's any questions, I'm going to answer those. Otherwise, what we are going to do is you're going to meet a bunch of amazing people there. We are going to connect you. We've got a private Facebook group that we are going to invite you into the moment that you are accepted. And again, you guys, don't wait. Sign up. These seats are going to go. So we are here to support you. We are here to answer questions. My team and I will be on for a little bit after this is done to ask questions. You can always direct message us. You can direct message Innovate Concierge. I'll make that easy. And then get in touch with the rest of us. You can direct message Ravi Tor on my team. You can direct message Sonia Nigley. You can direct message Maria No, who is a good friend and a strategic partner of mine. You can message me if you would like. We just want to make sure your questions are answered and that we get you what you need so that you can get this done. I hope that this was amazing for you guys. I hope you got lots of content, lots of value, and lots of clarity in your business. We will be back with our typical training on Thursday, and I cannot wait to see you all there. All right, much love, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been a pleasure to serve you, and I cannot wait to see all of you in Vegas, October 10th through 12th. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.